I still remember the way she smiled that morning, soft, deliberate, almost too calm. "Don't wait up for me this weekend," she said, tying her hair in front of the mirror. "I'll be spending it with a real man." The words didn't register right away. They hung there between us, slow and heavy, like smoke that refused to fade. I actually thought she was joking. "A real man?" I asked, forcing a weak smile. "Yeah," she said, catching my eyes in reflection. "Our marriage is open now. You agreed to that, remember?" But I hadn't, not really. Months earlier, during one of those half-serious midnight conversations, she'd floated the idea like it was harmless. Maybe we should be more open. Emotionally, sexually. Modern couples do that. I laughed it off. We can be modern without losing our minds. Apparently, she took that as consent. Her name is Samantha. We've been married 8 years. Met in grad school. She studied literature. I studied economics. She was fire and laughter, quoting novels in noisy bars. I was quieter, more grounded. Somehow we worked. At least I thought we did. The cracks began small. Missed dinners. Long silences. The phone that never left her hand. I didn't pry. That's what trust is, right? Not checking, not doubting, just believing. But that morning, watching her slip into a new dress I'd never seen, wearing someone else's perfume, I realized belief had become blindness. I said her name softly, but she was already walking away. "Sam," I called again. "Who is he?" She turned at the doorway, that smirk already there. Someone who doesn't have to ask. Then the door closed, final and clean. For the first hour, I just sat there. The coffee went cold. The clock hummed. I kept waiting for the sound of her car returning, for her to laugh and say it was a joke. She didn't. By noon, I opened the bottle of scotch we'd saved for our anniversary. The irony burned worse than the alcohol. Every time I shut my eyes, I saw that smile, the one that said, "I've already moved on, and you can't stop me." My mind kept replaying the last few months, searching for missed clues. The gym sessions, the new lingerie, the sudden self-care weekends. I wanted to feel angry, but instead, I just felt hollow. Even the house seemed to know something had died. Around 3, her best friend Leah texted, "Hey, heard you two are trying something new. How's the open thing going?" I didn't answer. I just scrolled through old photos, vacations, anniversaries, lazy Sundays. Every smile looked practiced now. Every touch staged. By evening, I went for a drive. No destination, just the road, the low hum of the tires, and my thoughts trying to make sense of it all. How do you accept that the person you share a bed with no longer sees fidelity as sacred? That marriage can mean whatever's convenient. I parked by the lake we used to visit when things were still good. Couples passed by, holding hands, laughing, bickering softly. I used to envy the ones who fought. At least they still cared enough to. When I got home, her suitcase was gone. So were a few framed photos, mostly from the early years, before things went dull. Her wedding ring sat on the counter, beside a note. "Don't be dramatic. This isn't betrayal. It's honesty. I need to feel alive again. You should, too." It wasn't the words that shattered me. It was how calm she sounded. Like she was closing a deal, not ending a marriage. That night, I sat in the dark, staring at the ring. The silence pressed against my chest like a weight I couldn't lift. Maybe that's what heartbreak really is. Not shouting or breaking things. Just realizing the person you love no longer sees you as real. Morning came anyway. Sunlight slipped through the blinds like nothing had happened. The world didn't care that mine had split in two. I didn't call. I didn't text. I just sat in that kitchen, the one we designed together, with the teal backsplash she'd insisted on, try and feel something other than humiliation. The strange thing about heartbreak is how normal it looks. The dishes still pile up. Bills still arrive. You still brush your teeth, even when you don't know why. By Sunday afternoon, another message came. "Back later tonight. Don't wait up." There was again that same casual tone, like she was running errands, not sleeping with someone else. I typed a dozen angry replies and deleted them all. Instead, I wrote one line, "No need. Take your time." It felt cleaner than begging for explanations she'd twist anyway. She came home around 11. I heard the key, the careful shuffle of shoes, the quiet hum of someone trying not to wake a person they no longer respected. I stayed on the couch, lights off. She froze when she saw me. "Jesus, Mark, you scared me," she said, clutching her purse. "Didn't mean to," I replied. "Just couldn't sleep." She looked different. Not ashamed. Not guilty. Just distant. Like I was already cut out of her story. "How was your weekend?" I asked. She shrugged. "Good. Freeing." Freeing. The word hit like a slap. Her face glowed faintly, not with guilt, but with certainty. She'd already chosen who she wanted to be, and I wasn't in that version. So this is what honesty looks like. I asked quietly. "It's not about honesty, Mark," she said. "It's about being real. We've been coasting for years. You just didn't want to admit it." Her words were ice water. I wanted to argue, list the effort, the nights, the love I gave, but it wouldn't matter. You can't convince someone to value what they've already written off. "I see," I said finally. "And what now? You keep seeing him." She sighed, impatient. "Maybe, maybe not. You can too if you want. We're adults." Adults. That's what she called it. I called it demolition with paperwork. I stood slowly. Sudden movements make people think you still want to fight. I used to think loyalty was love. I said, "Turns out it's just inertia. People stay until they remember they can leave." She didn't reply. Just looked at me with pity. The cruelest thing to feel for someone you once swore you loved. I didn't sleep that night. I packed. Just the essentials. By dawn, the car was full. When she came downstairs, half awake, she looked confused. "What are you doing?" "I'm setting you free," I said. "You don't have to pretend anymore." "You're leaving?" "Yeah. I think the real man deserves your full attention." Her lips parted. Maybe to argue, maybe to laugh. But I didn't stay long enough to know. The drive out of town felt unreal. Empty roads, pale sun, silence that finally felt like air instead of absence. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just breathed, really breathed, for the first time in months. I rented a small cabin near the lake. The same one I'd parked by the day she left. Funny how life loops back. Same place, different soul. For days, I didn't talk to anyone. I just walked, wrote, and let the world shrink until it fit in my hands again. On the fourth morning, a message from her. "I didn't think you'd actually leave. Can we talk?" I stared at the screen for a long time, then deleted it. Some conversations only reopen wounds you've already survived. Months later, I heard she tried the open thing again, only to learn her real man wasn't interested in anything real at all. Maybe that's what she needed to learn. Maybe that's what I did, too, because somewhere between silence and self-respect, I realized something simple. You can't lose someone who already left you in spirit. You can only stop holding the door open for their ghost. When people ask what happened between us, I just say,